welcome to Kel Knits. My name is Kelly and I am an Aussie knitter living in Sydney, Australia with my family. This is my knitting YouTube channel where I, once a month or so, or when I get around to it, chat about the different projects I'm working on and share my experiences and the patterns I'm enjoying and so forth. Welcome back if you've watched my previous episodes, and of course if you're new, you are very welcome as well. If you're here, it's probably because, just like me, you love knitting YouTube videos. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Before I get started, I would like to just briefly to acknowledge the Camaragal people, who are the traditional owners of the land where I am filming this video from today. And I would like to pay my respects to their elders, both past, present, future, and emerging. And if you would like to know more about what an acknowledgement of country is and why it's so important, particularly in Australia, or more about the Camaragal people, I will make sure to link some information in the show notes down below as well. I always make lots of show notes for my videos, so if you're looking for links to any of the patterns or the yarns, usually I forget the names of things whilst I'm talking, so I make sure that I put the correct names in the show notes below, or sometimes up on the screen as well. So if you're a bit confused by something I've said wrong, hopefully I fixed it up in the notes underneath. It is a very, very cold and blowy day. My friends in the Northern Hemisphere, everything's getting warmer, but here in the Southern Hemisphere, it's getting colder. And I'm very, very much missing the fact that the last winter I had was when we were living in Germany and we had underfloor heating. And even when the weather got super, super cold, we always felt toasty and warm. It doesn't get that cold here in Sydney. We don't get the snow and all those things, but oh my goodness, I'm feeling the cold like nothing else. So I am wearing a lovely summer top right now, and we'll see how long I last until I need to pause and go and put a jacket on. But I'm feeling okay for now. And it's very important that I wore this top today because it is my first, well, and only finished object for this video today. And this is my Frisky Leaves Tee, yes, by Karina. And I knitted this as part of a test knit for this beautiful top. Did not meet the test knit deadline, but I am very happy to report that it is now done and I am super happy with it. It's just unfortunate that I finished a beautiful summer top as the weather turns, but you know, it'll be summer again before we even know it, so that's okay. It will be fine. And actually, because of this beautiful lace, I haven't worn it yet, but with a nice jacket, it's gonna look still quite good underneath there as well. So, so maybe I can still get away with it as a bit of a kind of seasonal transition outfit also. So, if you have watched my previous episodes, you will have followed me along the saga of my terrible history of not understanding gauge clearly, or just, I don't know, just never seeming to get it right. So I knit the whole of this lace. It was too big, so I ripped it right back, started again. So I feel like I've knit this top twice, but it was worth it. It was worth it because now it fits, it's just the perfect size. And I knit, let me try and find, I knit size D. Originally started with E, it was just too big. I knit size E. I am around about a 40-inch, 101 centimeter chest. And yeah, so size D is what worked best for me. The yoke, I love a lace yoke, and it's a beautiful, I think it just looks really feminine and lovely, and I quite enjoy knitting lace, thankfully, because I did it twice. So I think it's really, really very pretty, and it wasn't particularly difficult as long as you know how to follow a lace chart. I didn't find the actual process of knitting the lace yoke all that challenging or difficult. It just takes time, doesn't it? Especially when knitting in 4-ply fingering weight yarn, which is what this is, which is again why it took a long time, because even once you split for the sleeves, you still got a long way to go when you're knitting round and round. And the yarn I used for this is Louie and Lola hand-dyed yarns with love from lovely Tasmania. This is them here, and it's a merino silk yak fingering. 60% superwash merino, 20% silk, and 20% yak. And the color is fuel, which, yeah, I get it. So it's a beautiful color, and it's a lovely soft yarn. Very happy with that. What would I say else about this top? I do think the neckline for me, it's fine. I can get it on, but let's just say I don't want to like do an elaborate hairstyle and then pull it over the top, because it's just going to mess it up. So I probably would like if there was a little bit more room in the neckline for me. And I also tried for the very first time, because this is sorry, because this is hand-dyed yarn. I know from watching other knitting videos and following Instagram stories and things like this that you should be alternating skeins with hand-dyed yarn, so that you don't have it doesn't really show any variations in the color that might look kind of pool and look a bit unusual. So I thought I'm going to do the right thing, and I thought, gosh, I always forget. I have a memory like nothing. Helical knitting, is it when you are knitting two balls of yarn at the same time, and you are changing every row? I'm not explaining it very well. Changing every row, and you do some weird thing where 3 stitches before the last change, you slip the stitches and then you start with a new ball. The process of it was fine, it worked fine, but I don't know if you can see in the video, but I think it looks a bit messy. I can see where those changes took place, and I don't like it. So I don't know if there's a better method. If there's a better method that you know about, please let me know. Maybe I just need to change the yarn down the side and just accept that there'll be a little bit of a seam or something, but at least it's kind of under the arm and not just happening all across the body here. Yeah, I'm not too sure, and I'm about to knit another project with hand-dyed yarn, and at this stage I'm just going to knit one ball after the other and hope that there's not too much variation in the colors. So we'll see. Those are probably my comments that I don't particularly love. And then the other thing I've really gotten into the habit for all of my cast-offs doing Jeny's super stretchy bind off, and I do it inside out or upside down or some other way, inside out I guess, which from memory is how Andrea Mowry does it. And so I might link as well, if I can find it, the little video tutorial that she has for how to do that. And I think it makes a really lovely looking bind off. It looks neat and tidy, and it is also you know, on the arms. I mean, I've got plenty of space here anyway, but it is nice and stretchy, which is good. And like, I wish, again, because this is the cast on here, I wish that neck had that same level of stretch as the cast off, would be really good. But this is the Frisky Leaves Tee. It's a beautiful pattern. It has now been released, so I started it as a test knit. It's since been released, and I would definitely encourage you to check it out, especially if you're looking for a beautiful feminine summer top. Next up, I can't actually show you my next project, so I will insert a picture for you. And the reason I can't show you is because it's lying on the floor down there on blocking mats. And I can't, if I lift up the phone and then show you over, then I'm gonna have this whole drama of trying to get it set up correctly again, and I'm not gonna do it. So I'm just going to insert a picture. And it is Unplugged by Hook Mountain Handmade, and this is the cardigan that I've been knitting for my brother for his 40th birthday. Happy birthday, Adam. It was a request. Well, I said, if you really want something for your birthday, I'm happy to knit something. He said okay, and so I've been working on it for a number of months now. It's almost finished, but it's got about that much of the rest of the arm and the cuff to go, and I ran out of yarn. So I'm waiting on another ball of yarn to arrive, and then I will be able to finish it. Very frustrating. And then of course I'd ordered the yarn, and I just heard from the shop who said, oh my goodness, your order went through, you know, and she at the same time sold the last couple of balls of yarn, so she has to now order it again. it's fine. You know, I really want to get it done, but I have got other things that I can work on, and I'm enjoying having started new projects. So next time I do a video, I will have finished. Definitely will have finished that one and I will be able to show it to you. Although again, I need to post it to my brother. He lives in a different state, so it's possible that it might still be pictures again, but whatever, that's okay. I'm also not sure about the button band. I just think it looks a bit, this is why I'm blocking it, because it just doesn't look, I think it's possible that I picked up too many stitches on the button, doing the button band. And I just think it looks a bit messy, so I'm trying to decide whether I have it in me to pull that out and do it again. So I thought, well, I'll block whilst I've got the time. I can't do any more work on the project anyway whilst I wait for this final ball of yarn. So I thought I will block it, lay it flat, see how it comes out when it's blocked, and if it looks fine, yay. If not, then I might redo that as well. And it's being knit in the concept by Katia, cotton merino tweed, in the color 505. It's like a rusty tweedy color, and this yarn's lovely. So I've mentioned that before, and I'll talk more about it, I'm sure, when I finished it. But there's a lot of yarn in this project, and it's like when I tried to block it, I need to, when I want to properly final block it to send to my brother, I'm going to have to do it in this, like, I usually use, I've got a really big bowl that I usually use, but I'm going to have to do it in the tub or something because I couldn't fit this thing in the bowl. It's so good, it's so big, but the yarn is still really light, and so I'm really enjoying that. I think it looks good. So that's my not quite but nearly finished object. So because I have a finished object and a nearly finished object, it means that I've got two new cast-ons to show you. I've been really wanting to cast on new things for so long now, so it feels really good to have gotten started, to have, you know, have a couple of new projects ready to show you. So the first one is this one here. Oh, there's not much to see really at the moment. It's called Auspice. It's a one skein shawl by Mutch, and I will insert a picture of what it's meant to look like, because at the moment, based on my whip, can't really tell much at all. But this is what I have so far. And you can see there are eyelet rows and lots of garter. And I'm really thoroughly enjoying this project. I love the black yarn. This is yarn I bought from Liberty in London when I was visiting there last year, and I had to walk away with something. And it's West Yorkshire Spinners Exquisite 4-ply, 80% Falkland wool, 20% mulberry silk. Let me try and open this up so you can see the band there. And what a beautiful project to use a lovely skein of yarn like this. It feels really soft. It's going to feel so nice wrapped around my neck. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's very mindless. It's pretty straightforward and easy. Doing some wrap and turn, some eyelet rows, but then lots and lots of garter. The only challenge is that it's black yarn, so most of my knitting time is in the evening, so it's you know, really my eyes are getting a workout. I need to invest in one of those like extra little lights so I can see my projects better in the, you know, in the evening or something. But it's because it's not particularly complicated, it's totally achievable, and hopefully it won't take me too long to do because it's a one skein shawl, because this is a project that I know I'm going to wear every day once it's done. I just think a black, because it's a shawl, but it's quite long, so it's a bit scarfy as well. I don't know, when is a shawl a scarf? I'm sure there's probably rules around that, but I know it just, especially for work and in the office, there are so many outfits that a lovely black shawl like this will match to, so I can't wait for it to be done. And then I have just yesterday cast on another project. This project is not a one skein shawl. It will not be done quickly. I anticipate that it will probably take me quite a while to do, but that's okay. And it is here. Again, there's not much to show you. I've done 6 inches in 1x1 rib, which will make a neckband for me. But I will insert a picture of what I'm trying to make, and it's called Tulip, and it's by, let me check her name, Ririko. So she is a Japanese designer, and I am doing this because I'm part of a Discord group, the Australian Knitters Discord group. I will put the link below if anybody is in Australia and would like to join. I am not particularly active in the group. I don't know, I'm not particularly active anywhere on socials, Instagram or any of this at the moment. I often pop in and have a look and a bit of a read, but I find with some of these things that unless you're quite involved, I lose, especially with Discord, I lose the thread of what's being discussed pretty quickly because I'm not in there often enough. And then, yeah. It's a shame because I would like to be more active. Maybe I just need to make more of an effort in that area. But they are having a knit along for Japanese designers. And I thought, oh, this is perfect. Because if you saw my last episode, you may have remembered that my husband was in Japan for work. And so of course I made him bring me back yarn, and I ordered this beautiful yarn, which is Amirisu Trek hand dyed, and it's 100% merino wool, and it's in the colorway Cinnabar, and it's beautiful. I love this color. This is probably my favorite color. I'll hold up my swatch so you can kind of see how it's looking as well. I think it's going to look really gorgeous. So I thought it was a perfect opportunity to knit a Japanese designer, a design by a Japanese designer in a Japanese yarn. Why not? I probably, much as I've done it because I would like to participate in the knit along, realistically I'm not sure I'll have the project finished in time for the knit along because again, this is 4-ply fingering weight yarn. It's quite thin. It's just going to take me time. There are 2 versions of this pattern, so I'll put up both versions so you can see there. How does she call them? I'll just check the names. There's a simpler version which has this lovely cabling down on the raglan, and I think you also have on the simpler version some lace kind of underneath, running down underneath the arm as well. Or there is another version which is called the feminine version, okay, which again still has the cabling on the raglan, but it has a lace down along the bottom and also has, what would you call the sleeves? There's going to be a name for the sleeves that kind of poof out a little bit. Oh, I don't know. I wish I knew the names to things, but this isn't even me forgetting. This is just probably me not even knowing what the name is meant to be called. Sorry, I was just looking a little bit quickly in the pattern to see if it says it there. Can't see it. I'm going to make the feminine version because I love the look of these sleeves. I think they look really gorgeous, and I think I like the idea. I've now knit quite a few projects with a lacy yoke, but I think it'd be nice to have a little bit of a lace edging around the hem. Looks really sweet as well. I'm not sure though if I will do the lacing under the arms because you can't see it that well, and maybe I'll just save myself a little bit of time by skipping that. I haven't decided yet. I mean, I don't have to decide that until I get to splitting for sleeves, I suppose. So I will think about it a little bit more. I might have a look at some of the projects and see if other people potentially have done that as well. I guess it probably also will impact on the gauge if I don't do the lace around down the sides. And of course, you know, I predict that I would probably have problems with lace. They're doing some work outside across the road, and I can hear lots of banging. You probably can't hear it on the video because I know every YouTuber who mentions, I'm so sorry about the outside noise, I always think I can't hear anything, but if you can, I apologize. yeah, so I predict that I will probably have problems with the gauge because I always have problems with the gauge and the sizing. So fingers crossed it works out. Already my gauge swatch, I think it's meant to be 24 stitches over 4 inches, and I've got about 28. So already my gauge swatch is wrong. Am I going to change needle size? No. Because I don't want to go up a needle size. I think this looks really nice as it is. I think if I go up a needle size, it's going to be a bit too open. So I've gone with knitting the slightly larger size. So I'm going to knit the large size, which should have a bust measurement of 115 centimeters. And they recommend an ease of between 5 and 15 centimeters. Now, I don't generally like too much ease, so I would want to be kind of erring on that 5 centimeter, maybe 10, yeah, probably 5 to 10 centimeter ease anyway. And as I said, I've got about 101 centimeter bust. So hopefully it'll magically work out, because I also think part of my gauge issues is the fact that, yes, I swatch, and maybe I know that it's only a small swatch. Maybe I should be doing much bigger, but I'm too lazy. Let's be honest. That takes a lot of time to do a bigger gauge swatch. But I think also what happens is that I swatch, and I swatch tighter than I actually knit. So much as I have 28 stitches, probably the reality is that it's going to be more around the 26 stitches per 4 inches, which means I'm getting a bit closer to what the gauge is of the pattern. I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I know there's maths. I know there is science in here, but it feels like art, or I don't know. But I've started, I'm off, and we'll see how we go. But I think it's a beautiful pattern, so I can't wait to have it done, even if it does take me months and months and months. Those are all my knits. Sorry, they're all over here to the right of me. That's why I'm gesturing over here. That's all I really have to show you today. What else has been happening? We had a lovely holidays over Easter. It was really disruptive. We were meant to drive to Melbourne, which is another state from here. The drive from here to Melbourne is about 9 hours, I guess, to go spend time with my family there. It was very exciting. My husband had been sick for the week or two before, and then of course, and he'd been testing, with the rapid tests at home. They'd all been negative. We thought he's just got a bad cold. Of course, a couple of days before we finish up, we were ready to leave. I started coming down with it and thought, oh, of course, this is bound to happen. And where my office is, there's one of those drive-through PCR testing for COVID. And I thought, oh, look, I'm going to go visit family. I'll go get a PCR just so that I can tell everybody not to worry. It's fine. I've been properly tested. It's not COVID, it's a cold. And of course, what do you think it was? It was COVID. So I suspect my husband did have it, and it just wasn't showing up on the rapid tests, because I don't know. I mean, I could have gotten it independent of him, but it seems very unlikely. So it was a little bit of a drama. All of our plans all kind of, got half cancelled, because thankfully I wasn't particularly sick at all. I was pretty much better within a day or two. And it wasn't no longer showing up on, I think it only showed up once on the RAT test, so that it wasn't really picking it up very well anyway. So we kind of waited, 4 or 5 days, I can't remember now, until everything looked clear and I was testing clear again, and thought, okay, now we can go down. So our whole holiday was very condensed. But I'm glad I did test, so that I wasn't traveling and on the road when I was, positive and possibly infecting people. I don't want to be that person. And also the other drama within that trip as well was the fact that it was my daughter's birthday in that week, and I had sent all of her birthday presents down to Melbourne with my dad. So we thought, oh my gosh, if we have to stay home, we don't have any of her presents. But thankfully her birthday was like towards the end of the week. It was fine, so we got down there in time. we arrived on the day of her birthday, so she just had to wait till the evening when we arrived to open up her presents. It was all fine. And for anyone who's done that road trip between Sydney and Melbourne, we loved it. I had such a good time. I don't know, I mean, obviously it's just a long drive, it's not really that exciting, but I think I wasn't particularly looking forward to it, whereas actually we had a lovely time. It was a really nice time as a family. We did stop on the way down in Albury and on the way back in Gundagai, for those people who know those places, and did a few little side trips to like Rutherglen and Beechworth, and had a really, really lovely time as a family on the drive. And of course I got lots of knitting. That's where I knit quite a lot of this body on the drive down, and working on my brother's cardigan so that he was able to try it on when we were down there. So much as it was all a bit chaotic for a while, it was still a really good trip. But otherwise, we are just back to school, back to work, all of those things. We've got another short trip coming up, which will be fun. We're going on like a weekend cruise. My good friends of ours work for a cruise company, so we're going with them for quite cheap, which will be really nice. And there was something else I was going to mention. Oh, that's what I was going to mention. Nothing to do with holidays or family things or travel, but it's May, and I'm pretty confident that I started this podcast in May last year, which means this is my 1-year podcast YouTube anniversary, videoversary, I don't know. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to acknowledge that as well. I've really enjoyed doing these videos. It's interesting because I started them when I was living in Germany. I was feeling quite removed from family and friends, and so I was more active on the socials then, and it was a way to feel part of the community, especially as a pretty new knitter, as I've only been knitting for about 2 years, classic pandemic knitter. And I wasn't too sure when I moved back here to Australia if I would keep the videos going. And yeah, so far I quite enjoy them. I think they're really every 4 to 6 weeks is probably about as much as I can manage. But I think that also fits in terms of my knitting schedule as well, because I don't get a huge amount of knitting time. And if I was doing a video every 2 weeks, there'd be nothing to see. So every 4 to 6 weeks means that, you know, I actually have some some knits to talk about, some new whips to show you, and so forth. And I quite enjoy. I've really enjoyed chatting to myself on the phone, but I really enjoy the comments as well, and I really make an effort to try and respond to all of the comments as well, because I think that again helps you feel part of a broader community as well, which I really enjoy. So that's probably all I have for this particular episode. So I want to say thank you if you've stuck around for this long. I hope wherever you are in the world, you're having a wonderful day. And I wish you lots and lots and lots of happy knitting time. All right, take care. Bye.